So by now, you all know the story of how Hollywood sees any potential new movie. Essentially, if you don't, let me just quickly catch you up with it. They announce a movie, and they set a release date, and they have pretty much nothing done. Unless you're a few of the studios that are head on the, whole Hollywood train. And then some suits in the back go, well, we're going to make this a trilogy. I'm looking at you, Ghostbusters. Or, okay, we're going to come out here and we're going to announce 5 sequels. I'm looking at you, Power Rangers. And then they deliver the final movie. And they leave the first movie with a bunch of open-ended questions. And a lot of times, the first movie isn't even good enough to be able to make enough money to get a sequel. Now, I'm a huge He-Man fan, and trust me when I tell you this right now, from the bottom of my heart, if there is one franchise I want to succeed, it is He-Man. I want this franchise to be like the next Guardians of the Galaxy if it could, which that's a whole topic I'll discuss in another video of how I think they should do He-Man. But, essentially, I've alluded to this on previous podcasts and stuff. I know people that are closer tied to He-Man than, let's say, the person watching or listening to this. And I've talked about how I know people that have seen the old test footage and who the actors were and everything. And I've talked to them, and they said that there's one thing that the studio wants very, it's out of necessity for the first movie. And they're putting like a mandate out there that Skeletor cannot be the villain of the first movie. Now, this makes sense. This is like Lord Zed in the new Power Rangers, or trying to do Guardians, and, if they would have thrown Thanos right in there. It wouldn't have worked, right? Because your ultimate end goal is the big nemesis of the hero. If you toss Skeletor in there in the first one, no other villain in He-Man's pantheon of villains matches up to Skeletor. So you have to tread carefully. So what I've been told, and what I've heard from some other people, is that He-Man is going to face lesser villains, with Skeletor being in the background kind of pulling strings here and there. Now this honestly to me is perfect. I want the world built. I want Eternia to feel like a livable place. I want it to feel fantastical. And I want some of these lesser known villains to show up and do their thing. And maybe just have Skeletor the one literally in the shadow. Maybe we see his staff or something, but we never see Skeletor. Maybe save him for the end of the trilogy. But here rises the problem. If you do this and your film tanks, well, we're never going to get the trilogy or the 6 movies you're promising. So it's a fine line between these things. And trust me when I say I want He-Man to succeed. I think you guys know this, but can it succeed without Skeletor? The most iconic He-Man villain, if you will. So this is a big question. And honestly, I want them to do someone other than Skeletor. But will it work? And I have my own theory on how they're going to fit Skeletor into this movie, and how I think he's going to be built up as the ultimate bad guy, but I'll make that for other videos. But for now, you guys let me know, would you guys be interested in a He-Man movie, where he doesn't ultimately face Skeletor at the end? And if he's not facing him, who do you think is going to be the villain?